to 8 to 24. Let's talk about Trump, though. Last night, he was impeached. Early hours of this morning, that vote went through the House of Representatives, the lower house of Congress. He's become the third U.S. president in history ever to be impeached by the House of Representatives. Now we're heading towards a trial in the Senate in the new year to decide whether or not they will remove him from office, whether they actually find him guilty. Well, the House voted on 2 charges: that the president abused his power and that he had obstructed Congress. The vote, though, fell pretty much entirely along party lines. Nearly all Democrats, bar a handful, voted for the charges, and all the Republicans voted against. Let's talk about this with Erol Morkoc, who's spokesman for Republicans abroad, and joins us now. Good morning to you, Erol.
Good morning, Julia.
Good
Thanks
morning.
for having me.
Well, last night, while this was ongoing, the president, being Donald Trump, was out doing a campaign rally in which he denounced the vote as a witch hunt, as a hoax, and a sham. Has it been any of those things?
Well, absolutely. This is not a vote for impeachment. This is a vote because the Democrats lost. And to quote Nancy Pelosi, this is a sad day for America. This sophomore group of malicious malcontents that have taken a once proud political party and turned it into, I'm sorry to say, a literal clown show. This is a sad day. Isn't a sad day for President Trump? He'll be fine. This is a sad day for America. The bar has been set so low for impeachment and it's become a weaponized political tool. The very thing Alexander Hamilton warned us about, Federalist Papers 65, Federalist Papers 86. You know, President Trump, the Teflon Don, will take this to a sweeping landslide in 2020, but let's see if this chamber can put down their swords and go back to work for the American people after this.
Well, you say a weaponized political tool, but only because the Republicans have decided Donald Trump's a vote winner and they don't want him to go. If they didn't think he was a vote winner, they'd happily vote him out of office. I mean, the reality is you can't think that it's a good thing for the American president to basically threaten to withhold funds voted already for by Congress, $400 million of military aid to an ally like Ukraine, in return for Ukraine making an announcement, not actually carrying out an investigation into corruption charges against Joe Biden, one of his Democratic rivals, but to actually just make the announcement about it. I mean, however you look at politics, whether you like Donald Trump or not, you've got to admit, and most Republicans behind closed doors would have to admit, that was the wrong thing for Donald Trump to do.
Well, Donald Trump knew he could not ask for quid pro quo, and that doesn't mean it wasn't in his purview to make sure that corruption didn't occur before he released the $400 million of lethal aid to the country that perhaps might not have been above board. Keep in mind, in 2009, President Obama turned his back on Ukraine. In March of 2009, Hillary Clinton went to Russia with that stupid reset button and gave them a green light to invade the Ukraine after they had done nothing about the invasion of Georgia. This is a travesty. That administration sent blankets and rations, but President Trump has sent over $400 million of lethal aid, put the toughest sanctions on the Russians of anybody possible. So, quite simply, we don't see it that way. We see it as President Trump protecting the country against perhaps alleged corruption of Joe Biden, who bragged about getting prosecutors fired for U.S. aid. These kind of things, his son was put in that ridiculous position where he's going to go there, he's not worth discussing. So, no, we don't see this at all. This is not a high crime or misdemeanor. This is the president fulfilling his duty to the country that elected him with a mandate to execute his policy.
He wasn't. Oh, come on, Errol. Even you don't believe that. He wasn't fulfilling his duty. Now, what's the interesting thing was this was very much on party lines, the Democrats versus the Republicans in the House of Representatives. The upper house, the Senate, 100 senators, 53 of whom are Republicans, 47 of them are Democrats. They need not just even a simple majority, which would be hard to get, given no Republicans have come on board with the impeachment process. They need a 2/3 majority. They need 67 senators to vote for this. It's not going to happen. Now, interestingly, after that vote to agree to send the articles of impeachment to the Senate, the trial, the decision of whether or not he's guilty or not, has to go to the Senate to be decided. The House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, the most senior Democrat, who had previously, until July, been very much opposed to an impeachment process, saying it was just going to help Donald Trump, she wouldn't commit to sending those articles of impeachment to the Senate. She said in a news conference that would have been our intention, but we'll see what happens over there. Now, there has been a call that, given that the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, who's a Republican, who's certainly backing Donald Trump now, hasn't in the past, he has to agree to particular procedures for the Senate that Democrats have called for that trial, which for all intents and purposes what it is. For instance, a requirement to bring in first-hand witnesses like the acting White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, to testify. And that if the Republicans don't agree to that happening, then there's no doubt at all that there'll be a vote to find Donald Trump not guilty, in which case that will help him, in which case we could even see this impeachment not going to the Senate, which would be quite bizarre.
That would be quite bizarre, and I think in a more conventional political climate, it would be totally beyond the concept. But right now, considering the situation, it's entirely possible that something like that could come around. Now, do I think it will actually go that way? No. The Senate does have powers that they have exclusively irreparable of Congress's wishes. And if we look at these concepts, the framers specifically made sure that Congress would not be able to influence and control the president and the courts during an impeachment process, according to how the framers put it. So while that is an interesting and unique facet of U.S. politics, I would be surprised how far they can take it, but we'll see. Nancy Pelosi has been put in a box by her party, and to keep her speaker's gavel, she has to do as she's told. She's lost control of it, so it's almost not in her hands. We're actually, very sad to see that. She used to be a venerable political force, and now she's almost hostage in her own party. So we'll see how that works out, but it's a very bizarre concept to bring up. I honestly can't say which way it will go, but I don't think that they will be able to take a lead there.
Yeah, well, we know nothing's going to happen until the new year, certainly. Erol Morkoc, spokesman for Republicans abroad, thank you very much indeed. The Republicans seem to be going just full on square behind Donald Trump on this.